Hey, everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the Engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live, headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay, every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
Hey, this is Tyler.
And this is KC.
And you're listening to
The Element
Podcast.
Fall of 2017. A ambitious, slightly ignorant KC Smith hops in the truck with his new hunting buddy Tyler Jones, and they head north to a state that I'd never stepped foot in.
Really?
The state of Kansas. And you talked me into going and doing something that didn't really make a lot of sense at the time to me, just being a cameraman. A camera? I don't operate cameras. And being a cameraman on a whitetail hunt. And we had access on a couple of little permission places up there that you'd acquired through the years. But we thought public land was kind of cool. So on the road up there and kind of the weeks leading up to that, I've been on my map on OnX looking at all the cool places that you can go and hunt that anybody can go to. Anybody. And I found this one little honey hole. I said, Tyler, what do you think about this? He's like, man, there's a 165-inch deer using this drainage here. But maybe. We'll talk about it. And we sat in your tree stand a couple evenings. And then...
On permission.
What's the line? It only took one wind change to end up on public land. Roll credits, baby. Roll credits. Nameless. There it is, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, what an epic experience, first of all. Guys, if you haven't seen that video, that's a high-quality production film that we did back in fall of 2017. That was really awesome. I'll watch it as often as I can on YouTube. I'll link to it below, but go check that out. But that's really where I think that Tyler and I took our map scouting to the next level, and kind of the thing that really made me feel like, hey, man, like there's something to this. There's something to being able to look at a map, never step foot on a place, and really dissect it and understand where whitetails are going to be, where you should set up, where you should hunt.
Go kill them.
Yeah. And we were able to do it on that trip. And I think from there, like, it's just opened a whole new world for us with being able to use our OnX app how many times have we left and not really known where we're headed and kind of figured it out on the way? And it works out from time to time. Sometimes there is a little bit of a learning curve. There's a little bit of stuff you have to go through, and you can never predict everything that's going to happen when you get somewhere. But, man, I think that it is a valuable skill to be able to look at a map and at least make some decent judgments before you ever get somewhere, because you can eliminate so much country and eliminate so much headache and so much time wasted.
For sure, man. I mean, thinking back to that nameless hunt, we decided based off that wind shift that we would be better served to go check some public land. And I mean, we sat did we sit twice in that same tree?
There was 3 hunts total, I believe.
3 hunts. We sat
a
a
morning,
morning,
an evening, and the next morning.
It was so good.
you
The first
killed.
time we sat there the next evening, and we saw a shooter buck that night, and then the next morning it happened, and it was a giant,
Yeah.
And so I think about that for sure, and then honestly, like we used it so much last year, man. I mean, you talk about starting at the elk hunt, right? I mean, day one of the hunt, opening day, we get back to the backcountry in the afternoon and start filtering water, and there's a bugle fest going up the mountain going on. At the time we're getting water, and we're like, okay, let's just get water, and then we'll get our stuff together and go. And we end up having an encounter with a gigantic 6x7, and it's like, man, we pretty much put camp right on top of them. You know what I mean? From the maps. And then
16 hours away, straight line driving, picking out these spots with a little advice from other people, or whatever about the unit. But like to go in and pick the spot and go, like it takes some confidence. And I'm not telling you this to tell you that we are just the ultimate experts, but we've done this and we've built that confidence. And I think that's what we're trying to do for everyone who's listening and watching, is help them build that confidence to know that what to look for, what to see on a map, and how to go in there and be aggressive and hunt it.
Yeah, and that's like you're saying a good point there, because there's a lot of people that are going to have different styles of hunting, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you can't learn from us, but you may be able to take what you've learned from us and adapt it to your methods. And what our methods are, we have confidence now in our ability to map scout to our method, to the methods of hunting that we use. So, like, it helped us, like I said, on the elk hunt last year. It helped us on several deer hunts. It allowed me to kill 2 public land bucks last year and a public land doe at places that I had never been before. So, it definitely feels good to be able to accomplish something like that. It's one of those things, like, when I played football, you could see your accomplishments come out, as you matured, as you learned, and as you got faster and trained harder, and you could see these accomplishments come out, sometimes day to day, sometimes week to week or month to month. But, that's something that for a while there you kind of feel unaccomplished, and then you start learning this new thing called map scouting, and you start to figure that out a little bit, and it feels good, man. And so what we've tried to do with this Map Scout Challenge is help people to adapt some of the things we've learned to their methods and to become better map scouters.
Yes.
So we just showed everything. There was nothing held back here, man.
Mm-hmm. What we're talking about here is the Map Scout Challenge. That's what we're doing. That's what we are releasing on YouTube right now. And this episode is going to be a little preview, a little height test about what that's all going to be. Guys, this is going to be the most comprehensive analysis of map scouting for public land whitetails that you're going to find on the interwebs. Yeah. It's like, we put a crap ton of work into this thing.
I feel confident in what you just said, too.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've seen a lot of the stuff. I know there's guys that have put stuff out, but we literally, we kept the coordinates on. Mm-hmm. And that's not to hurt anybody's feelings or burn anybody out or anything of a spot. It's to help guys be able to take what we found and look at the map on their own time and to understand a little better, because there's just no way, even in 30 and 45 minutes like some of these episodes are, that we can answer every question that some dude might have, right? Yeah. There's going to be questions. So maybe that guy can see those coordinates, punch them into his phone, and go find it out for himself on his app.
Yeah, so the format of this thing is that on a lot of these places, we had coordinates submitted to us of guys who are like, hey, I've never been to this spot. I'd really like to know what you think about it. I'd like to know your take on what it looks like on the ground. So what we did is we looked at those coordinates. We used our OnX app. We evaluated the spot and then went into the specific areas we thought on foot to go find deer sign, and then showed everybody what was there. And then we video that whole thing, that whole sequence there. And then we bring you back to the desk portion of things where a lot of map scouting gets done. And then we break down what we saw and apply it to different areas there. And that's kind of how the video is going to go. So you'll have like a really exciting portion at the beginning, and then more of like a classroom setting at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that Tyler and I's faces are very exciting things to see, but I understand that the classroom part will be more along the lines of less enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Not going to say boring, but
More educational.
More educational, that's right. If you're into learning about this stuff and learning with us, then it's going to be super helpful.
Yep.
So I think with that, we're going to probably just kind of give you all a little insight into some of the places that we went and some of the stuff that we saw, and maybe it'll kind of help you, A, plan your season out if you haven't got everything all planned out, and B, kind of give you a little idea of what you're going to see from the Map Scout Challenge.
Yeah, and what we're going to try to do here, and this is, the first episode is up right now. It's Kentucky. It's Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky.
Pause. Go watch it right now.
Exactly. Links below in the notes if you want to go watch it. But what I'm going to try to do right now is take us through each one of these places as we release these, so in the same order. Now, we still have a camera or two, I guess a camera out right now, and I haven't fully edited every single one of these. So there are things that could change in this order. So I just want to kind of preface it with that. But we're going to go ahead and try to go through the order that I would like to release these. Kentucky being first. K.C., Kentucky. We've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds to talk about this.
Okay, so Kentucky, Land Between the Lakes, it is a giant piece of public land. It is a giant piece of public land that gets a giant amount of pressure.
Yep.
In fact, we have some very, very fresh sign of said pressure that you will see in the video, most likely. But you're going to have a ton of big woods, and you're going to have a little bit of agriculture. Mm-hmm. The neat thing about Kentucky is it has an early season, the earliest pretty much in the eastern states, right?
I said that because we were talking about that, but there's a few other states.
I think conventional early season, right? Like what's one of
Florida
the
opens in August.
Yeah, Florida's a weird place.
The Carolinas, I think, open
Florida
in August.
has a July.
Yeah.
Too, so it's but there's some Carolina stuff you can go do, but like what you see a lot of guys planning their seasons around, at least, is like the Kentucky.
A place to kill a nice deer
in September
early season,
on beans, I think, is the big thing that everybody tries to go do. Now, you're going to see in this video that maybe that's not the only way to make it happen, but if you can go somewhere, find some beans, there's a good chance you're going to find some deer.
Yeah. We're not going to try to give too many spoilers, but I'm going to give one here. So just want to be 100% transparent. OnX and Exodus trail cameras were big supporters in this.
Yes.
So go support those brands right there if you like what we're doing, because they supported us. But saying that, our Exodus trail camera in Kentucky did get stolen.
That's right.
And it's unfortunate because we put a trail camera in most of these, and we put a trail camera out, and we've got footage to use to show you what kind of deer in the area and how a spot particularly did. But and we felt really good about this spot. It was on a bean field, tons of browse, halfway in between two road accesses. We felt good about it, and it just didn't keep the guys off the camera.
It did not. But two of the good things about the Exodus trail cameras is that guy can't use it because it has a passcode on it. So sorry, Mr. Guy. And two, Exodus has a pretty legit warranty where they'll cover half the cost on a stolen camera, so you can go and replace it pretty inexpensively comparatively to other stuff.
Exactly. So next place we went. Tawakoni, WMA in Texas.
Tawakoni, you might hear it, but if you're a local, Tawakoni. We went to our own backyard.
Yep.
We had somebody, I don't think who was local, actually sent us those coordinates. I think it was somebody from over in the DF Dub, which you could call local, I don't know. But
a Texan.
Texan.
You could drive 14 hours from here and still be in Texas.
That's right, man. And you might want to drive 14 hours to go hunt this spot. It's actually a really, really good spot.
We were blown away. We've spent some time here. I've hunted here some, to be honest, and I think I say that in the video. But it gets a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. And so there are definitely a lot of times in the year that I don't want to be over there. So with that said, we put the camera out. We did see people when we put the camera out. But actually right where we put the camera out. But we didn't, and there are people that were on our camera as well. But these were kind of recreational types as opposed to like hunter types.
I do believe that one of those groups was a group of falconers.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So that was neat.
Kind of interesting for sure.
Yeah.
But honestly, lots of daylight movement, not far from the road.
No.
And some decent bucks that could be possibly for sure shooters this year.
And a situation where like the map scouting paid off because there's a lot of stuff you're going to find in East Texas is going to be kind of monotonous and kind of difficult to find a spot on a map. But man, this is like one of those really rare occasions where there's a good pinch right there.
Yeah, it was great, a great job. And what we kind of posed this idea as when we finally went public with it was that people would send us spots. And for most of these, we got spots or areas sent to us. A few of them we didn't. We had to kind of batch some stuff together so we could get as many of these done as possible on certain trips. But this thing has the potential, this Map Scout Challenge has the potential. We've got several, this came from a completely different idea, and we've got other good ideas in the future for this Map Scout Challenge. It's not just going to be the same thing every year, so we're really excited about doing this more often. But from Tawakanee, we're going to go to the next video releasing, and these are not necessarily in the order we did these in. We actually did the physical scouting in, but this is the order we're releasing in. So this is Oologah, WMA, in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I wasn't there for this trip, and but I did help you do a little map scouting and whatnot. And it looks pretty crazy up there.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of land. I think there's some good potential to get in some big deer. There's a lot of deer. Actually, the trail camera did pretty well. There wasn't any giants on there, but there was some nice bucks. And I hung that trail camera like 170 yards off the road. And my buddy Wes was with me, so I didn't want him to have to go all the way in some of these places real far, Honestly, most of my spots that I picked out on the map were flooded out.
Yeah.
I think almost all of them. We had to we spent the first 3 to 4 hours that morning going to spots and going, well, this road is not necessarily that this road is flooded, but it was flooded 5 days ago and it's slickered and, snot. So anyway, great opportunity, I think, there. We didn't get to do exactly what we wanted there, but we still ended up with some good results on the trail camera, and I think it's going to be a pretty exciting one to watch. There's a lot of tags you can get in Oklahoma. A lot of deer tags. So.
Yes, for sure.
The next one we're looking to release is Mark Twain National Forest in Missouri, just a little place out in Missouri.
A little place, like 3.1 million acres, I think, something like that. Not billions, but millions for sure.
Yep.
Dude, what a surprise that place really was for me. First of all, just a beautiful area. I think of Missouri as kind of the South and kind of like Iowa's toilet, like it's just sitting on top of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's a cool spot.
Yeah.
It's a neat place, lots of hills, no agriculture in the national forest. You're hunting deer the way deer have been doing stuff there for forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very neat. One of the buggiest places I've ever been, man.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just that day, a particular time of year and everything, but goodness, there were ticks so bad. And just like you can hear several times in this video, mosquitoes buzzing around our mic. That's like how bad it is,
Yeah, we definitely went to the Mosquito Fest area down in there.
Yeah, we did.
One of the things that you'll find in places like Missouri that have more liberal gun seasons and just quite a few hunters is that pressure's a real deal there, and you're going to have to go and do things that people don't want to do to go find deer. We still have a camera soaking there that's going to get picked up soon. Yep. So pretty excited to see what happens with that.
Yeah, me too. We got it in a good spot. It's also kind of a spot that it could get stolen, so I'm a little bit worried about that. But there was a spot we really wanted to put it and decided to keep scouting a little bit longer. It's one of those things where you're like, well, we're kind of back towards the truck now. Let's just put it here. It's a good spot too, But there was a really good spot that we could have put it over a scrape that was a summertime scrape,
Yeah.
From there, we go not far, at least in state-to-state relevance, to Kansas.
This is a place I didn't get to make either. You kind of did this little loop of a trip with old Wes up there. And, man, Kansas is it's kind of an intriguing state for a lot of people because it's kind of hard to go hunt there.
The thing is that Oologah in Oklahoma is not far from this place in Kansas. So same type of deer, little different bag limits, or quite a bit different bag limits that could could affect the overall quality of deer for sure. But at the same time, like those deer, the same skeletal makeup and that kind of thing. So they've got the potential to be good, but you're going to have a few less deer probably shot there in Kansas.
Yeah, which means a lot of times an older age class, and that's why Kansas is renowned as pretty good state to go on.
Yeah, for sure. And so anyway, this particular WMA, I don't even know what the WMA was named, but it was right next to the town of Caney, Kansas, and it's a cool place. I don't think you can get way back on it necessarily because there's a pretty good road system right there out of town. But I think that talking to Wes, there's some big deer there.
Yeah.
So pretty cool, pretty interested. I didn't got our trail camera got messed with there. And we didn't, but it took pictures almost the whole time. And we had one good half rack 10-point. He had shed antler, but a couple little baskets and that kind of thing. But another deal where I didn't want to put Wes too far back and too hard a situation to get the camera. So I think there's opportunity there for sure. The next place we go to, KC, is the first place that we did the Map Scout Challenge.
Dude, what a hot fest that was,
dude,
man.
It was cool. It was a cool place.
Yeah, dude. Lake Whitney here in Texas, which is a piece of core land that has a lot of potential. It's in an area of Texas where your body size on your whitetails might be the smallest that you're going to probably find outside of, like, Florida. But they're still going to have good-sized antlers. The really intriguing thing about this place is, A, it's a ton of land. B, you might be able to go shoot a deer, a hog, and a turkey all on the same trip. There's a lot of wildlife there,
Then pull out your shotgun and shoot some ducks.
That's right. We saw ducks on the river.
They were everywhere,
and pull out your fly rod and catch some sand bass. Dadgummit.
Talk about casting blast.
I know it, dude. Yeah, really good. Like, you want to talk about opportunity. First of all, Texas, you can kill a ton of deer.
Yeah.
Hogs are unlimited. You can kill a bunch of turkeys compared to other states. And then you can shoot ducks and catch fish all in the same spot. Like, that's opportunity, man. You need 7 coolers when you're heading home from there.
Dude, it would be a cool place for sure to spend a week, camping and that kind of thing. And we saw turkey tracks a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Like, in a few particular places especially, we saw a ton of turkey tracks.
And I do believe that, I don't know on the turkeys, but I'm pretty sure that this place is archery only, maybe even for turkeys. So you might really cut down on some of the pressure that you're going to find there because not everybody in Texas is a bow hunter. So it's pretty intriguing because of that as well.
Yeah, this place is actually not too far from us where we live. So it's like kind of one of those places we might have to go check out sometime.
Yes.
It just depends. It's like one of them deals, man. You got so many opportunities here in the U.S. to do cool things, and sometimes you don't have time to do them all. So the next place that we're going to visit in this YouTube series is another place about the same distance from home probably, and that is Ouachita National Forest in Oklahoma.
That might be my favorite one that we did. We didn't see the big bucks or anything on this trip per se, and we actually didn't hang a trail camera because I believe we were 27 miles from a yellow striped road. We went down county roads and then 2 tracks for 27 miles, I think it was, to get to where we were.
It took forever.
It took a long time.
They're getting my truck back in there. I was a little bit worried because I just, I was just like, man, some of these roads are definite like Jeep and 4-wheeler type roads, and I had a full-size truck in there, and I'm just like, man.
But you want to talk about potential to go and kill some deer? We saw quite a few deer. We found some legit situations where deer are using terrain specifically in ways that are patternable with saddles and bowls and things like that. We found some consistency in bedding, especially with bucks, because pretty sure we jumped 2 different bucks. May have saw a giant black bear. Unsure. It was either Sasquatch or black bear.
Dude, I'm thinking more of a squatch, man. This thing was getting it. It was scary, dude. It was scary.
Yeah.
We saw a ton of black bear sign, though.
We did.
Yeah,
We did,
or
man.
squatch sign. I'm not sure which one,
Yeah,
but it was
one of those things.
It was some kind of big mammal sign, you know.
Yeah, but either way, it's just that was a place that I've kind of dreamed about a lot because it's kind of accessible for us, but it's kind of intimidating too because it's like, man, can we actually go up there and see deer and shoot deer? Like, it just feels like it's just mountains
Huge,
of
man.
nothing. Yeah, but there's some definite potential there.
Yeah, for sure. I think the elevation would help us to get on, help us get on deer. But yeah, that one's going to be an exciting one to watch, I think, especially for a lot of our Texas friends who might dream of going to Oklahoma and getting some extra tags.
Purchasing a not very expensive out-of-state license.
Yeah, for sure. The next place we're going to visit in this series is we're going to take ourselves back to Kentucky, the Kentucky trip, where we got to hang out with our friends Anthony and old Brian, Sean O'Brien. This is Tennessee, land between the lakes.
So just south of the Bluegrass State there.
Yeah.
Not quite as early of a season, but just as big a bucks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Found pawpaws.
Yep.
Which was like a life moment for me. Really.
Yep.
I've been thinking about pawpaws for a long time.
Yep.
I want to go back there and harvest some one of these days. Can you harvest a pawpaw, or do you just pick them?
Well, I think if you watch the Jungle Book, then you're picking pawpaws.
They have pawpaws in the Jungle Book?
He sings a song about it.
Does he really?
Yeah, I think it's in the Bare Necessities.
Oh, yeah, he does say something about a
Something
pawpaw.
about picking pawpaws or something.
Well, how does that work?
I don't know.
They got some weird continent stuff going on. Okay, back to the mascot challenge. But we saw a lot of deer in Tennessee.
Yeah. There were lots of deer. I think it's a world record came from there. It's a cool opportunity again on a huge area there at Land Between the Lakes. I think you're going to see a lot of people hunting around there.
Mm-hmm.
But could be a cool deal. That's going to be later in this series because we're trying to focus more on where we set the camera for Tennessee was a for sure rut travel pinch.
Yes.
And so Anthony actually pulled the card and left the camera and re-upped the card.
Good. I was hoping he did that.
So we might try to get another run through there as it gets closer to season before we have to release this video to see what else has come through there. But it was not very good pool from summertime stuff and we kind of expected that.
Yeah, we kind of expected that. But I think what's important to me is to see how deer use the area and make sure implications were right. And we kind of assumed where trails were. We assumed where the deer's route of travel would be, and I think that camera proves that. So now we just really need to swap the does for bucks, which will happen during the rut.
I mean, it's a spot. It had rubs and stuff up and through there.
Big white oak trees. I mean, it's everything that you want, man.
Yeah, it's a for sure spot, So we thought we would talk a little bit more about that in this episode as opposed to the early season stuff in Kentucky on that trip that we took. We've got two more here that we did, and the second to last one is going to be Davy Crockett National Forest here in Texas, which is another big chunk of land.
I got lost there one time whenever I was a freshman in college.
Really?
Yep, I was driving to go see a girl and it was actually before OnX, So
that's why you got lost. You didn't know where you stood.
I didn't know where I stood. But anyways, that was a cool spot, man. We saw a lot of deer sign. We saw a lot of hog sign, like you expect. And, we kind of turned a new leaf on hogs. Like, for a long time, they were kind of annoying, but sometimes you just have to accept them. And now I'm just about ready to rip some hogs, to the truth of the matter.
For real.
So I think if you're a hunter who wants some opportunity, there's opportunity there for sure. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that you might be able to pick up an extra doe tag down there. Don't take me for regulation, but if you're interested, go check that out.
Yeah, there was actually the sign kind of blew us away. We hung 2 trail cameras there, and I think we were on the back side of the sign that we found. You know what I mean? Texas is so weird. Especially in some of the East Texas stuff, it's like the rut can get so strung out, and so fresh sign from a week or two ago might be the very end of it because we started getting close to when they were going to shed.
Yeah,
at that
and
time
that
of
was
year.
green up too, so those deer are shifting to what they're eating.
And I think they shifted on us a little bit because we hung a couple of trail cameras, one more for hogs and one for, in an area where there was a waller and a spring, and then another one was on a scrape that was pretty freshly worked.
Yeah,
and we did not get a buck on camera.
Man,
how weird is that?
It's weird. We got quite a few does.
We've come to expect that. A lot of you guys are going to listen to that and be like, that is super weird. We've come to expect that if we're hunting in East Texas, like we may not see a buck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the nature of the beast down there. I mean, I think that probably goes to show you that there's definitely some pressure there, and we saw signs of that pressure.
Yeah.
You know, like, man, when you live in a place where so much emphasis is put on the buck and people shooting bucks, and they let you shoot little tinies, and then you don't get to shoot one until they're bigger than 13 inches wide, then a lot of little tinies get shot, and they don't get to grow to be bigger bucks.
But we had quite a few deer on camera still.
Yeah.
Like we set up on a good area to shoot deer. And this isn't necessarily, this is a Map Scout challenge. It's not the Find Big Buck challenge. So, there's a lot of people that you have been talking with on social media and stuff lately about that are getting into hunting,
Yeah.
And it's like, man, this is a great place to go shoot a doe, if you want to go sit right where this camera is. Or a pig.
We were just talking. We had wild hog spaghetti for supper. It might be the best spaghetti I've made in a while.
It was so good, man. There's also turkeys there.
Yes.
So turkeys make for pretty good table fare as well.
They do.
So anyway, cool place. Definitely worth checking out. And a lot of this stuff, we go and we set a camera, and you're eliminating stuff too. And like we talked at the beginning, we've had our successes. We've figured out some stuff that match up with our hunting style, but that does not mean that you're going to do it every time. There are guys that will tell you they got it figured out and they can do it every time, and they are lying to you. So don't believe them.
Even our guest next week, Tony Treach, doesn't kill something every time,
dude. And this
at
guy,
least 80%.
If you ask anybody that's anybody in the industry that knows Tony Treach, and they will tell you how for real this dude is.
He's the killer of killers.
He is for real.
Yeah.
So our last video, as far as we know, that's going to release in this series is going to be Illinois, Shawnee National Forest.
Yeah.
Is this the second biggest place we went to?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the second biggest if you talk about, under the name of a national forest. Shawnee is 280,000 acres, is that right?
289, I think.
289,000 acres. So there's at least 289 big bucks on this place,
That's
right?
what I'm thinking.
Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah. Booners probably.
Yeah, boons. Girls boons.
Boons.
Man, this place was tough.
Yeah.
Illinois kind of has that big buck thing. We're not in Pike County, though, where like everybody hears about, whatever, thanks Bill Jordan. But I think there's potential for some good deer there. And honestly, we kind of, to use a term we don't like to use very often, we kind of grinded it out on this place, map scouted our way around, and it took us a little while to finally find a place that we were like, okay, this has got some potential. Yeah. But we found a spot.
Yeah.
We did. We figured out that we didn't want to be actually down near the river as much, where it's right on the Mississippi right there. And then we moved our way up, found a spot that we really liked, but it actually had a ton of pressure.
Yeah.
So we had to go.
We think it was private land pressure.
Yeah, or at least accessing from private land. They were set up on public.
Yeah.
But,
it's like we're going to hunt this field, deer moving to this private field because the only timber is on public.
Passed up some chanterelles. Didn't know what they were when we were.
We could have sold them, man. We could have paid for all our gas.
Let me tell you something. I want to eat one real bad. We can sell them next year. I want to eat some.
Your boy Brian Koch had some recently, I think.
I think those might have been jack-o'-lanterns.
Well, his last name is Koch.
It is, dude. It is.
Who knows what they were?
That's right, man. But we ended up finding a really cool spot that actually the OnX thing helped us out a ton on because it looks like when you drive up, it looks like it might be private, but it is right on the border or whatever, and it's a cool spot, man.
Yeah, I think
I'm ready to see what that camera makes.
I'm going to be disappointed if there's not like a good 3 to 4 year old buck that shows up on there a couple times.
Illinois doesn't have an early season, but that doesn't mean you can't use beans to your advantage, especially when you're camera scouting.
Mm-hmm.
This place that we were on had like probably a, 60-acre bean patch that was kind of long and slender.
Mm-hmm.
And we followed the border of that bean patch like almost all the way to the back corner before we found the place where the deer were accessing. And you kind of had the hypothesis on this. Like you always talk about how deer want to be as far from a road as they can be.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of have a threshold of like, if they can get a certain distance from the road, they don't mind if cars drive by.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what we saw here. There were deer. Like, there was a deer highway in the back of these beans back here. We didn't get to go actually look at the browse on the beans, but we had our binos with us, so you can actually, kind of look and see where the deer have been eating, and they were definitely eating there.
Mm-hmm.
And we lined up a really old Forest Service 2-track and crossed that on the deer trail, so kind of expect to get deer going both directions there. And like you were saying, that camera is going to sit for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We should have something on
there. I hope so, man. I honestly hope it doesn't have a person steal it too. It's one of those ones, we hung it up pretty high, but it's just in a spot, man, that like, it's at the back of that field, but it's not like terribly far in there, you know what I mean? So it's I just feel weird now because some of these big national forests in places, near populations, we've had some cameras tampered with, so
yeah. But that's part of the deal, and there's some things that you can do to kind of circumvent that. Like we hung that camera high, and one of the things that we really started trying to do, and Jake from Exodus Trail Cameras kind of helped us with this idea. But you don't always have to hang the camera on the trail. You can step back a couple trees and still have that thing point to the trail and take pictures. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, like if somebody's scouting deer and they're walking along this trail, they don't look up and see your camera. It's 7, 8, 10 feet off the trail right there.
Right.
And that's kind of what we did there.
Yeah.
So I expect there to be something really good if that thing makes it.
Me too, dude.
Yeah.
I hope there is, man, because we decided to throw this together. I say that, but we decided to put this whole thing together and actually attempt it, like in February or January, I guess. So we're like running up against the clock with deer shedding and stuff like that, their antlers. And so like we did as many in the spring as quickly as possible. And then that way we could have like a month out with the cameras before the spring or before they shed antlers. And then, obviously went back in this summer, in, I guess, whenever that was that we started doing that, late May or whatever, June, and did some for the summertime as deer are going through velvet and that kind of thing, which the summertime is just tough, especially in the South, and we spend a lot of time in the South, so, but I mean, overall, learned a ton. It was super fun, a lot of it. You've probably heard me talk about how much work it has been. I mean, it's been a lot of keeping up with footage, being organized, adding in all kinds of maps. We've done tons of map recording and that kind of thing. So,
yeah, let's touch on that a little bit. You'll get to actually see like our thought processes at work as we're dissecting these maps. So we do screen recordings on our phones as we are out scouting this stuff. That way you can see kind of what we're marking, what we're looking at, terrain features and all that kind of stuff in real time, instead of like two dudes sitting at a desk just telling you about it.
Right.
And I think I tried to approach this from the idea of like, okay, what would help me if I'm trying to figure it out? What do I want somebody else to show me? And that's kind of what I want to see. I want to see those screen recordings. I want to see those map dots. I want to see the coordinates of where you're at. That way, guys, if you want to, you can pause your video on our map, on our screen recording, punch in the coordinates, and do it with us on your phone, because we leave the coordinates there for you to check out.
Yeah, for sure, man. We wanted this to be as helpful as possible, especially to guys who are newer to this. So if this is something that like you're going to watch or whatever, if you've already gone and watched the Kentucky one when we told you to, thank you. And make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. I'm sure most of you guys are at this point, but just make sure if you haven't, then you subscribe, because you'll be able to see these as they come out. You'll be notified when they come out. And so we're going to release these every week. We're going to try to make sure that these come out. I'm doing everything within my power right now to make sure that they release on Tuesdays every week from here on out.
That's right, man. Until what? Like the first week of October?
Yeah, it'll
is
be
Illinois.
October, I think.
Yeah, so we have a lot of that stuff coming out. And then I do believe kind of as season starts to ramp up and we're getting close, there's actually another video series that I'm probably just as hype about.
Yeah, we need to, you and I off air need to talk about when we're going to start releasing that. But yeah, me too, because those are, we talked about this on the main show recently, but yeah, the public land hotspots. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so just like some super short videos that'll give you a tip on some of the things we use when we go out of state, you know. I kind of like was thinking about this, like, I'm thinking, man, you know, are we giving away too much? You know, like, are people going to end up coming and finding the spots and hunting all the deer out of these areas that we typically find deer? You know, are we giving too much of our style away and this and that? Because and you know, I know I had that thought
gotta
in my mind.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome.
That's right. Get better, baby. You know, I don't know. I kind of am like, man, are we idiots because nobody's done it like this before? Nobody else has done it this in depth and in detail before. And does that make us, you know, is that just the reason we do it? The reason we're doing it, is that because, you know, we just don't know any better?
Dude, the good thing is that what we're doing is not like the West Coast offense, or it's not like what's that weird offense where the quarterback goes out and plays receiver in the Wildcat.
Yeah, Wildcat.
It's not the Wildcat to where people figure it out and then you lose. Like, people can figure out how we have success and we can just all have success.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
I hope so, man.
So I think it's going to work out well for everybody. Just don't try to snipe our actual spots. We will come find you. So.
That's right. We will snipe you.
Guys, if you are listening to this for the first time, you're interested in the Map Scout Challenge and you have subscribed, share it with your friends.
Yes, please.
Man, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be frank with you guys. Tyler and I are trying to find a way to where we can dedicate as much of our time to doing this type of thing that we can. And what I'm really trying to say is we're trying to find a way to make a little meager living doing this stuff, being able to love what we do and still make sure our families have, you know, bread and beans at night to eat. So the way you're going to help us do that is subscribing to our YouTube channel, sharing this with your friends, and telling everybody about it, and head over to our website and buy a T-shirt or something.
Yeah.
If you feel like it. If you don't, we don't hold it against you. But
sure.
Support us that way if you do feel so inclined.
And support the brands that have supported us. That's OnX and Exodus on this series. And when I say that, you know, you don't have to, you know, spend a ton of money with them or whatever if you don't have it to spend or you don't necessarily want that. But just go to their social media and be like, hey, saw the cameras on the Elements Map Scout Challenge. You know, super interested. Can I chat with you guys or whatever? Yeah, cool stuff. Whatever. Just let them know that you saw their stuff. You know, and that just lets them know that that we're trying hard to make sure that they find value in what we're doing, and that you guys are finding value in what we're doing as well. And it just means a ton to us. I mean, I can't tell you. I haven't talked about this a whole lot in a long time, but you know, I toured in a couple bands for basically a decade, and you know, struggled, man, and I'm still kind of chasing a dream, and that's kind of, we're blessed to be in America and be able to do that kind of thing, you know, even as crazy as things are right now, but we're so blessed just to be able to chase the dream, and K.C. and I are kind of on the brink of living that dream, but we definitely need some help to get over the hump, and we love you guys so much for the support that you guys give us, and the views, the comments, the commentary towards anything that we're doing, pretty much.
Yeah, so we appreciate it a ton. All those shares and just anything, you know, the words of encouragement, man. We appreciate those so much. Mm-hmm. And if you are interested in becoming a part of the Map Scout Challenge, send us some coordinates. We're going to go ahead and start getting these stuff together. Yeah. We're going to make a file. You know, of course, hunting season's coming up right now, and all of our efforts will be focused in on trying to kill some stuff. But right after deer season, we're going to ramp this thing up probably quicker than we did last year, because we're going to get, you know, that late season scouting and stuff done. So go ahead and start sending us coordinates, guys. If you have a place that you either want our opinion on, or a place that you've never been to that you maybe want us to go investigate, we assume that next season we'll be doing something at least similar to this for the Map Scout Challenge as well. I foresee the Map Scout Challenge lasting a while because, quite honestly, this was a lot of fun to do.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of work. Tyler's put a ton of work in on the editing, so y'all be sure and give him an extra hand whenever you see cool stuff happen. Anyways, I like the Map Scout Challenge, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's a thing.
It's the editing has been overwhelming at times, but really, truly an exciting project to edit because so much is going on. You know what I mean? So it's not just your typical East Texas hang on public land where we saw 3 does, and I'm going to try to make that happen in 2.5 minutes on a video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's been a lot more fun than that for sure. But like we said, we appreciate you guys a ton. Appreciate everything that you guys have done for us. It means the world that we get to chase our dreams and chase big deer, which are really mainly our dream. Big deer is our dream. But yeah, this thing definitely might even reach out into some western states and that kind of thing. So send us points.
Oh yeah,
Know that if you
in
send us,
Montana,
yeah,
send us places that we want to go to.
yeah, exactly.
Like if you got something that's like I don't know,
key deer.
Yeah,
I would go look at key deer.
Do that.
You know?
What about like on the Kenai Peninsula? Speaking of keys, I might have to go map scout there. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Or I would even settle for like, the Taylor River in Colorado.
Yeah, we
like,
could definitely see if there's whitetails there.
Yes,
but the thing is, this thing might morph into some other things for sure, some different species and that kind of thing. We're working on different things right now in regards to that. But if you send us a spot, it will be public. So just know that.
Keep that in
and
mind.
we have told everybody that sent us spots, hey, this is going to be public. Are you cool with it?
Yeah.
From this point on, just consider it. We're not going to probably just message you individually. If you send us something, it's going to be public.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's a spot that you think is cool that you know that you'll really never get to, unless we see a giant and then you're going to go in there and chase him or whatever and spend the money and time.
Real quick, we've got a ton of help from a lot of our friends doing the Map Scout Challenge, so we appreciate that. O'Brien and Anthony. O'Brien and Anthony and Jake and Kyle and Wes. And so I wanted to give a plug for our actually just an Element follower who reached out and offered to help us because we need a little help with something. Our friend Kyle Hankins, he's actually started a podcast called the Blue Collar Hunting Camp. So if you're into guys from the South sitting around hanging out and talking about hunting, go check them out. Kyle's going to help us out with some trail camera stuff. So Kyle, we really appreciate you, man. Thanks for doing that for us.
Yeah, for sure. Big thanks to our friends, all of them, for doing that. And when KC said send us a map dot, you can also, with that map dot, kind of volunteer yourself to help us get camera and stuff like that. Like if you're like, hey, come check this place out in Michigan, and we're like, well, we can't go hang a camera and then go back to Michigan.
Yeah.
You might could offer to help or whatever, and we'll take any help that we can get when we decide to go somewhere. If you guys are up for that, we really love the community aspect of this thing. KC talks about it, and he's like, man, it was. This is a little insight into what we talk about, but he's like, man, you know what? We just can't do business like a lot of people do business. Like we're just going to become friends with these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's inevitable. We just can't help it. We care about people, and we enjoy that community aspect. So hopefully we can all just create this big, huge community brand that's a lot of fun, and everybody kind of gets a little bit of involvement here and there. So maybe one day there'll be like 100,000 dudes walking in the woods at the same time.
We're gonna kill a bunch.
We could do that
of
at Mark
pigs.
Twain. There's probably enough room for
real.
us. So anyway, we're gonna kill a bunch of pigs. But in the meantime, guys, thanks for listening. We've got a lot of content coming your way this week, and that includes videos. That includes podcasts. We're still doing the elk series. We've still got our regular show and that kind of thing, and we're really gearing up here pretty quick to actually go elk hunting, and then and maybe even deer hunting. So it's getting to the point where for us, with as much stuff as we've got rolling out right now, it's getting tough, and we're going to have to be wise with the way we pack and when we do it and how quickly we're prepared for this stuff. So. And I know a lot of you guys are feeling the same way with work and stuff like that, and getting back to normal schedules after COVID and that kind of thing. So just be wise with your time. and get your stuff packed up in plenty of time to go do these cool hunts this fall. Also, remember, this is your element.
Living it.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.